Hi, I'm Alan Sheriff. I'm a director of a small fintech company called CBoxx. So I've got nothing to do with charities at all, but I have been involved in the blockchain sector for about 2 years now. I'm here because I had a connection with Glenn and Richard. We looked at the idea of identity-less people and finding a solution to that, which also gives me a connection to what Sue was talking about earlier, so looking at the work with migrants, homeless people and so on. So I worked on the technology section of that, the potential solution and use of blockchain, and in particular self-sovereign identity as implemented on the blockchain is an area that I'm quite interested in. I think you are as well, aren't you, Dave?
Well, let's wait and see.
Yeah. I'm a bit terrified of treading on Dave's toes because I know what he's like. Nowadays, so I've worked in fintech. I generally work behind the scenes in the automation of processes, the integration of systems for financial planners, wealth managers, investment platforms. I've worked with Origo standards, which are the standards for transacting in the UK automatically using XML messaging. I've worked with the Swift banking network as well. So my perspective now, I'm sort of turned a bit old and grey, a little bit more stupid, but a little bit more organised, is I'm now a project manager. So my perspective on this is always as how will I deliver a solution? So when I look at blockchain, I'm thinking about, should I be using blockchain at all? What are the options? And if I am going to use blockchain, what are the challenges? And how am I going to deliver that to give a good solution, an economical solution? Over the years, I've worked a lot behind the scenes of the financial stack in the UK. This is a stack of technology that I think has been mentioned a few times, which has grown to be massively complex, hugely expensive. I think the keynote went into that in some detail. That's not by design. The financial stack has evolved over decades. And where I've got involved is when I've worked with standards organisations like Origo, who typically work with a group of competitors, a group of investment platforms or wealth managers or so on, who have suddenly realised that they've all got a common process, they all do roughly the same thing, but it's all a bit woolly at the moment how they do things, so they need to collaborate, so they get together, they get a third party in who talks about how we can standardise that. They come up with some standards to automate processes between themselves. And then they work out how they can do that automatically through messaging. And then there's a load of sitting around and wrangling about, right, how exactly are we going to implement this now? We can either send messages to each other directly, which when there's a small group, that works very well, and that's fine. But as that group starts to grow and expand, then they suddenly realise that they do need to implement a central third party. So the system that sits in the middle of all of these collaborating, untrusted competitors, and that's how that third party gets set up in the middle there. And until I read about blockchain in 2015, I thought, yes, that's correct. That's the way that things should work. My platforms can make a single connection to one central hub, which sorts everything out. They can then connect to all of the other people on that hub. And it also sorts out the legal framework as well. And this seemed like the natural way to do. But that's how that financial stack has evolved, is because of the constant introduction of this set of intermediaries that run all the way from the top of the stack, from the investor through the financial planners to the investment platforms to the product providers, the fund managers, the third-party intermediaries, the custodians, the settlement banks, the Bank of England, all the way down. There's reams and reams of intermediaries that have evolved over the years through that kind of process coming into play. So it was in 2015 where, by accident I suppose, I started to research new technology, came across the phrase blockchain, looked into the concepts of decentralisation, and that basically shattered my view of of how the financial stack should work, I suddenly realised that we don't need, it doesn't need to work this way at all. And it's a bit far-fetched maybe, but I could see how the financial stack could be de-layered. So these intermediaries can be replaced by this technology of trust, which allows all of these untrusted parties to transact with each other securely. And so we can see how enormous amounts of cost can be taken out of that financial stack. And by that means, and I'm getting around to the blockchain for good bit here now, as we start to take cost out of that financial stack, then it opens up the possibility of the cost of investment dropping, potentially, technically speaking. Anyway, the cost will drop, the cost of investment will fall, and then it opens up the affordability of investment, which in turn should increase financial inclusion. So for people that were unable to afford investment previously, it opens the market up so they can get affordable investment for their savings, their pensions, whatever. They should also have access to affordable advice, which isn't really much to do with blockchain. That's more kind of AI and robo and things like that. So that's why I'm here, I think. I have also recently been working with a collective of blockchain enthusiasts. Gary Nuttall in the corner, there's another one. Staring up at me there. We've been looking at things like contract law on blockchain, so I guess you'd call it smart contract law as a possibility. We've been looking at the application of it in the realms of regulation technology or RegTech. We've looked at applying governance to decentralized networks as well. So how are you going to automate? I think Roger was talking about how could you automate the laws that are going to govern that network. My belief in the blockchain for good world, governance is vital, because if someone has their identity and some savings on a blockchain network, if it were Bitcoin or Ethereum public networks as it stand and they lose their private key, then that's it, it's game over, they've lost it. There's no recourse for them. So I think governance is absolutely essential in this particular arena. Not for everybody, of course. And yeah, that'll do. I'm a bit of a fanboy of Ethereum as well. I'll hand over to Dave, thank you.